place, please. Don't feel disturbed, Thomas, by getting filmed and microphone. It's all fixed for everyone. So, welcome here after already quite a full day. My name is Thomas Lüdert. I'm born in Germany and worked there for almost 20 years on landscape gardening, tree working in companies that I co-founded, cooperative companies which still exist. And since more than 20 years now, I am living in Temera, which is quite close to here, a big community of almost 200 residents, some more 300 guests in summer, usually. Not now. And I will give this workshop here about rainwater management in arid regions, which is actually here. Rainwater management, and I will like and try to teach you one sentence. Huh? It's a big task for only 4 hours, and this is that sentence. Rainwater belongs into the earth. This is what seems to be very easy, and you will find out that you are not used to this thought, that you are not used to all the implementations which comes behind it. How we will do it, I will present you theoretical introduction about the principles we are working on. On the second part, we will go for some measures, how we can implement these things. And in the third part, we will practice the easiest measure which almost everybody can do in their properties, in practice outside here, to let you know what is possible and how. Although we don't have the proper big machines, which might be good, you can see how it is meant. Yeah, I used a picture of Austrian guy called Victor Schauberger. He lived in the 19th century, 1850 coming up. He was a forest ranger, and he knew a lot about water, and especially about the water cycle, and especially about the part which we do not see. This is everything under the earth. Half of the water event, rainwater, what is the water? Besides seawater, but the water for us to live is rainwater. What else? Where should it come from? Everything comes from rain. Where we live from. If there would not be rainwater, we would not be here. Everything up here we know somehow, not in this intact circle, but we know it. What we do not know at all is what happens under our feet. And I can tell you, we are all walking on water. Every day and always. There's wells here, maybe you have seen it. If you have a look inside, after 6 meters you will find a water table. And this is what we are walking on. You could put a well here everywhere, and you find the same water table in any place. Here, if we would dig 7 meters, we have 1 meter of water. So we all are walking always on water. It is not seen, and it is not recognized. Nevertheless, what Victor Schauberger showed us is how should it be, and how is it in very few places in Europe still. And one of our problems is, besides not seeing into the earth, that we don't know the original circle. This is too loud for me. Yes. This full water circle would be like this. There is evaporation. And you have not only this circle of rain, but much smaller circles where it evaporates everywhere and rains everywhere. And then the water goes down, best case in a forest or in a cultural landscape with a lot of plants and so, and it will infiltrate into the earth. If you imagine an intact forest, you will never find superficial runoff. Be aware of this. If you have an intact forest, even on a heavy rain, you will not have superficial runoff. If you have a city, if you have agricultural land, if you have a road, if you have anything where we live usually, you will always have superficial runoff of rainwater. And that's a problem. We are used to rainwater running off, and we often even try to get rid of the rainwater. Even here in Portugal. Winter, we try to get rid of it as soon as possible, down to the sea. And then we complain about, oh, there is no water here. But it's not true. In this place we have the same amount of rain like in Berlin, just the same. Bit time-wise a bit different, but it should be enough. But it isn't, because we let it run off. In the full hydraulic circle, this would not happen. It would infiltrate into the earth where it belongs to and come back in springs to fill the rivers. The rivers still will exist, but they will not exist by runoff rainwater, but by spring rainwater, which is no longer rainwater. Rainwater is very healthy for plants and even poison for us. If you only drink rainwater, it's sterilized water, and it will suck minerals from you instead of giving you anything. And you can poison yourself by drinking only rainwater. It's not a good idea. You should use it for washing, because it sucks. It needs to have minerals. Or you put it into the earth. Maybe I told it again. I will tell more of. It sucks into the earth, and there it will mineralize, and then it will come out somewhere. Already Victor Schauberger saw more than 150 years ago that this is no longer the case and will be even worse. And so he said this is a half hydraulic circle, which actually still gets rain here, but a lot of runoff, much less groundwater. Groundwater is not a water table to be compared with the lake. It's much more pudding. It's something which goes up the hill, down the hill, and so on. And it is everywhere. You can see it. Wherever there is a green plant, there is groundwater. Where should it live from? Otherwise. This is what we have often. This is now broken because on the coast, often big cities, greenhouses, and so on are built. Instead of having wetlands like in southern Spain, now we have greenhouses. Instead of evaporation, we have a heat block. So, the clouds with the rain are blocked from the heat and will rain on the sea. So you stop the rain by this. And you have very little circles, and somehow it goes over okay. But this is really where we are now. And like in Spain, you have these things where the central Spain is trying out getting a desert, and where these small circles and also the big circle does not work any longer. By the way, if you have questions on...
If we could improve the amount of vegetation right on the coastline, would that then cool down and allow for more of the hydrological cycle? So is that a key kind of leverage point?
Exactly. Let's go to the more hopeful things. And the most hopeful thing is we can change it. We should do so. It will not change if we do nothing. The idea to just let nature do, for this it's too late. This was maybe in Victor Schauberger's time, it might be still possible, but today we have to do something. And the first thing we should do is to do reforestation and evaporation, even on here, on the mountains. And this is where we are. You know this picture? On the highway, advertising for the Alentejo, 1 or 2 trees and a landscape with nothing. advertising. This is Alentejo. And this should not be like this. We should not advertise with this. It is really broken hydraulic circle, and it's broken forest. It is dyed and cut down forest. So
What do you mean it is?
to improve the situation, we have to start on the hillside. If we would start here, we would have still a lot of runoff, and we couldn't handle it. So let's start here to reforest the things. You see the groundwater table is rising again a bit. In the next step, which might be very soon, we could go into the areas a bit downhill to put more plants and more gardens and more green roofs and stuff onto the settlements and factories. And in the third step, we also go for the coastline and here we should put some of the big hotels and the greenhouses somewhere else, or we should avoid them at all. This is not possible. It's needed to have green areas there. Yeah.
Where should cities exist on the planet?
You will not move them. This is our situation. We have to deal with the situation we have, and you will not move them. But you have to go
For the new cities that are
as much as possible. You should take care that water goes into the earth. But the city is a relatively small area compared with, let's say, Alentejo. If you have a city here and there is no runoff coming from outside, this is not so much a problem. You have a big and good groundwater table. Change the cities, but we will change them. This would not change the locations, but we would change the habit to infiltrate rainwater into the earth. And there's possibilities far beyond what we think about. In Los Angeles, they put gravel under the roads, put the rainwater off the roads and of the houses into this filter to let it infiltrate under a highway. It's good for the aquifer, and it's good for the canalization, and it's good for the capture of drinking water by drill holes or whatever you have. So there is possibilities to save and to store water also in the cities. And if you provide evaporation by more plants, more green roofs and so on, depends here, green roof is not so, in the Alentejo it makes no sense, but maybe in Lisbon it would, depends. This would be the third step, and then you get actually a restored situation, including cities. This is the thing about the understanding of how to protect nature. There is thinking, the first step of thinking, let's keep people out. Then nature will heal again. This might have been true 100 years ago. I don't think it is still true. The Alentejo would not recover, or in 500 years. And for my understanding, this is too late. And you can't put everybody out. Where would you put the people to? So we need to have a concept of nature protection, where we say, okay, people are part of the nature. And best case, they are no longer the destroyers, but they are the ones, we should be the ones to help nature to recover and to come back to how it is meant. This is Tamera in 2006. This is the same picture. In 2008.
It's the same picture?
This is the same picture. Just the same picture.
16 years.
No, 2
years. Sorry, 2004. I think I did 2004.
6 to 8 or 9.
There must have been some human intervention.
The beautiful thing, if we have guests and show this only, they used to ask, and when we said, yes, we did build this lake in 2007, the best question is, what exactly do you mean with built? And then I'm really proud that they think this was there forever. And that's the idea of it. It is, of course, the biggest intervention you can do. It needs a lot of expertise. We have had the advantage to have Sepp also to help us with this in the first years. Now we know it, do it ourselves. But there are existing much more easy things to have almost the same effect. It is not only about lake building. That's the case. Usually you have the wish to have a big lake. Mostly you don't have the place, and you don't have the place where it makes sense. And if you try it somewhere where it does not make sense, it's not good. When we do lake buildings, it's between 10 and 20 euros a square meter. And it starts at 1,000 square meters. This one has 30,000. 300,000 to 500,000, something like this. Well, the groundwater table is quite high.
Then it's better to have a lake.
So that you have, that you put the lake there, then it makes sense. We will come to lake building a bit later, but I actually don't like to focus so much on it, because it is not easy. Of course, everybody wants to have it, also here. And here I said, okay guys, there is a well. We are just behind the house. Look into this well. What do you see? You see a water table, 6 meters. Great, we have water here in 6 meters depth. What happens if you dig a hole to have a lake?
That water disappears.
No,
Comes up.
no, nothing happens. The water is just under. You will dig some 4 or 5 meters, and then you did not even reach it. You did not even reach it. So there comes a little bit rain from a small catchment area, and the water will infiltrate into the ground. Very good idea for infiltrating, but you will not have a lake unless between March and end of April, a bit. This is not what people want to have. They want to have a lake the whole year and tough, yeah. But there is other possibilities to put the water into the ground, and also to level up the groundwater level. But to have a lake in this situation here, it would be down there in the village where the river is. And mainly it makes sense if you have water coming from your neighbors, where you have no influence on. Actually, if you would live here, and there is a farmer who did not reforestate, and you have a lot of runoff coming, and then you can put a dam to store and to stop and to retain a lot of water, if you have the place and the money to do so. So it goes down into the earth, and then it goes somewhere. Nobody knows where it goes. It could go uphill to the other side. It could go downhill. You don't know where this water comes from and where it goes to. It's very anarchistic. I like it. Rainwater should go into the earth. You should not have superficial runoff. Yeah? Sepp also said, okay, you have your pocket, yeah, and you got a big rain of money coming in, huh? Very nice. So that's the rain. But if you put a hole down here and let it just fall out, what makes it sense? And so he said, close this hole. Be open for the rain, but keep the rain water where it falls down. And don't let it run away so that it's away in summer. Now it's leveling. It's first calibrating, then it starts to move. Too low? Too high?
Would you see like in nighttime? Would you see like a clear?
In millimeter.
Okay.
It's a millimeter. Huh? So as long as I hear the sound, I am 5 centimeters, And this is actually enough. And what you will do, you will get white bags. And I have a short one only, so we do it uphill here. Back. Back. Back.
Should we start with the bank?
Yeah,
I think we can actually take the soil from where it's...
we don't need soil. We have bags with little rock.
Yeah, but they're already over there and we're supposed to use the white ones, right?
One question, if you do
So we've got a lot of fishermen around. It's not trawlers in the drawers. It's all like hand lines. So it's really ethical fishing. And they're pulling nets out all the time.
Thomas, how far are we going or how deep you go? With the line?
15 centimeters, if possible, to the end of the property.
And insects and
Yeah.
slowly start
Yeah,
the process instead of all the water running off
yeah, I
and
get it.
losing it, which is what happened here. What he said before, I don't know if you heard that in class, Portugal gets as much rainwater as Berlin. Portugal gets as much water as Berlin. This could be like forests, the forests they have in Germany and everything, but because they've taken all the trees down and all the vegetation, all the water is running off and we have this kind of soil.
Yeah.
This is what we're trying to do. Eventually, if they do it enough places, ideally everywhere, then everything will become forest again.
Wow, that would be something.
And they've done that in a lot of places. You see online, lowest like China, and India, and lots of
Jordan.
places. And you see over 10 years, what he showed in Tamara.
Yeah.
Did you see the pictures
I
of
did,
Tamara?
I
It
did.
looked like this, and 10 years later, it's like lush
green
green.
React from today to tomorrow. Thing, and you will not find a solution to solve and to help them and to treat them, because this is not. You have to change the land use, and this is what we are doing. Good.
It's like in discussion in many years in parliaments and all this because of social security parameters, whatever. And I'm just wondering, did you face any legal issues, any challenges?
I would not use it for drinking, as I said, at
Yes.
all. This is a good law. In this case, because it's poison.
Yes.
And I would prefer to put it into the soil and then get it somewhere else than directly from rainwater. And I have no experience with this legal stuff, but I think also it's a city issue. If here you would want to use it, if you have a tank, for instance, which is big enough, you can of course take the rainwater, but don't take it for drinking. And use whatever water. For washing might be rainwater would be really perfect, and for showering and so on. Runoff water, which you could infilter wherever possible, as soon as possible, or
learned in the context of global development. And so like a lot of times we use rainwater. Rainwater is better for drinking water because it's cleaner to start with versus a lot of surface water, which is where shallow wells are contaminated with feces. And so they use rainwater for drinking because it's easier to purify than something that has contaminants in it.
you have to know that it sucks minerals from your body. We use at least 100 liters a day, and maximum 3 of them is to drink. So this should be separated, and we are not used to this. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.
Remember this sentence.
Remember the sentence.
Remember the sentence. If you forgot, you have to join the online course.
Good promotion.